as long as you have the Roth IRA open for 5 years and you meet 59 and a half, everything comes out tax and penalty free.
Nicole is an IRA specialist at Quest Trust Company. In a former role, she managed over 80 million in retirement accounts. At Quest, Nicole hosts weekly classes, virtual happy hours, and public speaking events to educate others on the benefits of self-directed IRAs and other retirement accounts. So it's a pleasure to have you on, and I know you have a lot of value to bring to this topic.
Well, thanks
Nice
so
talking
much.
with you again, Nicole. So we're in your position, you pretty much exclusively work with passive investors. With a self-directed IRA, it can't be active, right?
Well, yeah, you actually can have like a
Okay.
rental property and have an active role inside of a self-directed IRA.
Well, no, I meant more the flipping, the wholesaling, and I don't know, maybe that can be done in there, but in talking with investors, clients of Quest, what are some of the benefits that they're looking for, that you find that they're looking for, and you can tie this directly into how self-directed IRA works, to give them extra benefits. But what are they looking for passive investments?
Sure. So most of the clients that we see go towards these passive income investments. It's kind of the 4Ts that I kind of hear the most. They really don't want to deal with the tenants, trash, trouble, and toilets. Like they have a 9 to 5 job and a family, and like that's just not something that they really want to deal with. They want something passive. They have, so much on their schedule, and that's just not something that they want to deal with. They are kind of looking for that mailbox money. It's not going to their mailbox. Of course, it's going to the mailbox of the IRA, if you will. Those returns are all going back to the IRA, of course, and there's tax savings there. But yeah, and then, another reason I hear is, what if my rental property, isn't occupied for a long time? I'm going to have to cover, those expenses and the rent, and I don't want to deal with that. So yeah, I am seeing that there's definitely a trend towards more passive investing inside of the IRAs, as opposed to, a more active role in real estate.
So in that trend, so are you seeing more of like they're doing loans, almost like a hard money loan themselves, or is it more they're buying in equity positions in properties where they're getting a return and maybe even a kickback on profits?
Lots of like multifamily syndications, or like a REIT, like a real estate investment trust, a private fund, of course, being self-directed. Storage units, commercial. So, that kind of that passive, here, of course, that same, let me invest in your, in your company, and, I'll sit back and take the check, whenever it comes in. So those are kind of the things that we see investors doing more often than we have.
So what are some of the benefits of doing that through a self-directed IRA?
Sure. So through a self-directed IRA, of course, all the profits do come in. Of course, in a traditional IRA, the pre-tax IRA, the taxes go in the returns go in tax-free for now, but they all grow tax-free or tax deferred. So at 59 and a half, the magic age for retirement for the IRS, when they start taking those distributions, they pay the taxes then. And it's taxed at whatever your income tax bracket is at the time. In a Roth IRA, as long as you have the Roth IRA open for 5 years and you meet 59 and a half, everything comes out tax and penalty free. So, the benefits of doing it in a self-directed Roth IRA, all those returns are coming out, completely free. So that's an amazing way, to build a nice, little retirement nest egg there. So, by doing these passive investments that way.
Yeah, a lot of people talk about doing 1031 exchanges, but the same net effect you have through your Roth, because it is that tax deferred growth or tax free. So that's why we've used accounts at Quest, but we also borrow a lot of money from Quest clients.
Absolutely. We definitely have clients that, hey, I just want to be the bank. I just want to loan my funds out. Of course, people loan money out for all sorts of reasons, but I would say probably the majority is to fund other people's real estate projects if they're doing fix and flips or, buying or seller finance or what have you. So again, that passive way, I don't want to deal with all that stuff. Let's meet an attorney's office and see what, terms we can come to together on this promissory note. And, we have a great system where the borrower can just click on a website, pay that loan back directly to the IRA. So we try to make, of course, as easy as possible. But yeah, of course, we see lots of promissory notes as well.
Yeah, and it really is the most passive way you can get involved, because you can buy a rental property and then let a management company take care of it. But you're still, the buck stops with you when a repair item comes up or whatever. Whereas when you're doing a loan or you're a silent partner or equity partner in a deal, it's not perfect, but you're not actively in the day to day. Especially if it's a loan. Now, it's not completely passive in the sense that you can just blindly do it without any regard to risk and underwriting. Like, you still got to do that stuff.
Of course, do your due diligence.
But from a day-to-day operations, that part is completely passive.
For sure. I mean, obviously, please do your due diligence, on all investments, on people that you're loaning to, or if you're loaning to a company. But yeah, I mean, for the most part, you set it up how you're going to set it up. You've come to terms with the borrower. This is how it's going to go. This is what happens if you don't pay me back, and it's kind of a set it and forget it, from there.
Yeah. Any other than IRAs? Well, let's talk about people who either quit their job and they have a 401k or they're self-employed. Are there a couple other vehicles that folks should consider that are self-directed that would allow them to use maybe 401k money, moving it over, or set up within their own personal business?
Absolutely. So yeah, if you have an old 401k sitting around, kind of don't know what to do with it, you're thinking this might be an option for you, we absolutely can roll that over into.
There's got to be thousands of those now, like with the whole COVID and people changing jobs, and there's got to be so much money sitting around like that.
Yeah, so you can absolutely roll that money. You're going from a qualified retirement plan to a qualified IRA, which is a qualified account. So, it's not like a taxable event. So you can absolutely roll those funds over into an IRA to do your passive investing. Yeah, that's
even there's certain circumstances where you could do a conversion to a Roth if you qualify. And then there's a strategy on, I guess, doing that after January 1st.
Yeah, you can always do a Roth conversion. It's taxable, of course, because you're going from pre-tax to after-tax. You want to make sure you're not converting too much, because you could, put yourself in a higher tax bracket there. But absolutely, we can process those Roth conversions. That's a very easy transaction, actually. You just need to make sure you're talking, with your CPA for the amount that's really right to convert for you. And you can convert as little or as much as you want, and we're, of course, happy to help you with that. But yeah, Roth conversions for sure. And yeah, you can roll those funds over from your 401k, really all kinds of things you can do.